True story.
Can
you all hear me?
Yes.
Great. Thank you, Courtney, for starting the recording. So good morning, everyone, and let's call this meeting to order. So can we do roll call?
Yes. I will run down the list. Samantha Albert.
Present.
Hi, Samantha. Christy Belton.
I'm here. Morning.
Morning, Christy. Pat Dorsey. I think I heard from Pat that she might be late or might not be able to make it. So we'll see if she can come. Director Matt McCombs.
Present.
And Commissioner Jody Shattuck McNally.
Present.
Hi, Jody. And Mark Morgan.
Present.
Great. And then we have Julie Sinsel and Sylvan White Skunk who aren't able to make it. Morning, Pat. We're just taking rolls, so I'll add you to the roster. And so we do have
Wonderful.
quorum. Good to move forward.
Thank you, Courtney. Appreciate that. Well, hey, everyone. Sorry, my husband's doing a meeting. And so he's the president of this National Association, so everyone's calling him this morning. Anyway, just wanted to welcome you all and thank you all for your continued hard work. And we've had some really great meetings, and you guys have done a lot of work and spent a lot of time. I want to just thank you again. I said it yesterday, but I really meant it. I think we've done some tremendous work, and I think we all should pat each other, high five each other, and also the staff, because they've been running. You guys have, Courtney and Angela and Matt and James have done a tremendous amount of work and putting things together, and just want to say thank you. So let's move on to approval of the minutes. I believe it's just one set, or is it two? Do we have two sets from last Friday and last Thursday and the Friday before?
Yeah, there are two sets. I sent out the second document yesterday afternoon, so I would understand if people had not had a chance to review it yet.
Would everyone like to just approve the one from a weekend from last Friday, or 2 weeks ago? Do you want to just do that so we have time to look at the other one, or how does everyone feel about that?
I'm a trusting soul. I'm sure they're probably correct, and you can do whatever you want.
Well, I'll take a motion from you all what you'd like to do.
I've read them both, so I'll move that we approve both sets of meeting minutes.
I will second that.
So that would be the 14th and the 20th. Am I correct?
Yes.
Just to be for the official record. So is there a sec? No, it's fine, Christy. I've had to look at for myself. It's like, what day are we on? So is there a second?
Yes, I seconded.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, all those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay, those passed. Okay, so now on to next steps. We just I hope you all felt pretty excited that we got pretty much everything that we had worked on with a few tweaks moving forward. So congratulations to you all. And thank you, Courtney and Director McCombs. Again, it's just pretty amazing stuff. And I thought we had great conversations. So now next steps are we need to look at how we go forward with the interim committee. And I've already, as a loan commissioner, they had a bunch of the commissioners come and present in front of the interim committee a week and a half ago as loan commissioners and share what's happening in our counties. And that went really well. The new chair's Representative Velasco. Is that how we pronounce her? Velasco? And she's amazing already as a new representative. So, and really engaged with this work. So she's done a great job, I thought, chairing that meeting. So we just have to present these in front of the that interim committee like we did last year. And so I'm willing to do that again. But I thought we should make sure we have, like I'm sure Courtney will be there and Director McCombs or someone. I'm hoping we'll have some experts around to kind of help back up. So unless someone else wants to travel down to Denver and stuff, I'm willing to do that and represent you all if you're okay with that.
That sounds great. Thank you for doing that.
That sounds good.
Joy and I,
Thank you, Commissioner. I
sorry.
should be there. I have those on the count. Those 2 dates, those 2 Wildfire Matters Review Committee dates locked on the calendar, so I should be there to support you.
Great. And can you remind me the dates again? Because I'm going to have to, I think they're on Tuesdays and I'm supposed to be, and I have to move chairing my regular meeting. So could we remind me of those dates? The 29th?
I can check them. I'll go to their website real quick. And
Yeah,
look them up.
I have it, Matt. Most likely the Legislative Committee of the Forest Health Council will be presenting on August 29th, and the other potential dates or the backup date is September 19th. So I know at least the first one is a Tuesday, and
Okay.
I have not checked the second one.
And it will be in the morning or afternoon? Do you know?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That information usually comes
I think it was,
like last minute, but typically they're in the morning.
well, I know last time I presented with the, as commissioners, we presented in the afternoon. So that's why I'm asking. So if it's in the morning, I will come down and then I'll just jump in and join my meeting after we're done. So, okay. So I guess we need a vote to do that. I'll welcome that motion.
I would so move.
I can second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And I don't think we have any opposed. Do we have any opposed? Okay. So that's our next item of business for that. And then we need to turn this all, we're going to have this all into the report and this will be sent out to the whole group to approve. Is that correct, Courtney? Is that the next steps for the full council?
Yes. So Angela has already been working on the report. I think what she just needs to do now is drop in the recommendations that were approved, then it'll go to the whole council for edits. And then we will need to schedule an impromptu, very short council meeting simply to approve the report. And then it'll be sent to all of the appropriate people like the governor and the legislature and the directors of divisions.
Wonderful. And are the recommendations now that they're approved? Because I'm having a meeting with a very large contingent of legislators today in my office for lunch to talk about next year's priorities. Are those allowed to be shared today, or should I wait since they're formally approved?
It was a public meeting. What do you think, Courtney?
I was going to say the same thing. It was a public meeting. The public was there. They saw the final version. So I would say, yeah, you're welcome to share them. I can't imagine. I don't think they could change now.
Not without an additional public meeting based vote. So I think that you're safe in saying this is what was proposed, this is what was approved, and we'll see what the legislature does with it and give your delegation here from NOCO, an opportunity to have a sneak peek at sort of what's going to become before Wildfire Matters.
Great. I just, it's not very often we can get, almost 10 of them in a room. And I just wanted to take advantage because we're supposed to share what we want as commissioners, but also individuals. And we're supposed to be sharing some of our individual work. And so this is important work for me. So I just wanted to make sure I could. Otherwise, I was just going to say, hey, we've voted on recommendations are coming, but I just wanted to make sure that was okay. So great. Okay, so what other steps do we need today, Courtney?
I don't think there's anything else on the agenda, any other steps that need to be taken between now and the interim committee meeting or when the report is written.
Okay, And we didn't really put, I didn't put anything on the other in the agenda discussion or new business or anything, just to kind of be able to kind of meet and then honor all your time. The only thing, Pat, go ahead.
I just had a quick question for Courtney, and this is a follow-up to the conversation yesterday about ending the meetings on time and all of that stuff, not running over. And to the point you made, Jody, we run 40-minute meetings or 45-minute meetings. If we schedule hour-long meetings and we only use 40 minutes, that would be okay, correct? We just can't extend them past. So I just wanted to offer that up as a thought, and I apologize for my informality, Commissioner. I shouldn't refer to you by your first name. I apologize.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I think that seems like a really simple, easy way to at least mitigate, that last 10 or 15 minutes that we have, that we often go over. So I would be happy to go ahead and change all of our meetings to be from 8:30 to 9:30 right now, if the committee, approves that sort of change.
I think that's a great suggestion. Last year we were able, or I was able to try to keep us, kind of on time, because I was trying to honor everyone's time since we're meeting with such a frequent cadence. But this year, and I apologize if us going over, some meetings some boards that I'm on and chair, we need to approve this, and others we don't. Sometimes in the county they block out 3 hours, and I'm just, so we never go over, and so I just never thought about that. So I apologize if I created any conflict or issues for any of you with your schedules or running over. It just, we've had such a robust conversation and so much great speakers. We've covered so much ground in the last couple of months that we probably should have had that conversation about just moving it to an hour. We did move that one to an hour and a half because I knew we were going to have a big discussion. So I'm good with moving it for an hour if you all think that's a great idea too. So. And then that was my question. Pat, do you still have another question? Your hand's still up. Okay, cool. Thank you, Pat, for that. And I was wondering, we needed to meet today to vote. We've been meeting every month. I don't know, every week. I don't think we need to meet every week for a little while. Do we want to just go back to our 2-week cadence just for a quick check-in? Or do you want to take, since we have a full council meeting, do you want to take August off just to give us a gift of time? What is your, or do you want to keep our cadence and just have a check-in? Mr. Morgan.
I would be fine with taking August off. It's extremely busy time for us. If you don't think there's anything that needs to be done, I think I had just a few comments later on when it's appropriate this morning. I would call it the after action report from yesterday. A couple items that I saw there. So, but first off, as far as what you just asked, I would be fine with every other week or taking August off. Looks like a lot of people got a lot of work to do. I think Director McCombs got assigned a lot of work. That's what I saw. But anyway, that would, whatever the group wants.
Christy.
I agree. Taking August off would be great. And then I would recommend or suggest that we resume our 2-week meetings in September.
Great. Courtney, do you see any, and Director, I hope that gives you the gift of time. I don't see any, unless you feel like we needed to, since we're having a full council vote. Does that work for everyone, or will that kind of throw us off?
I think that works, especially since the interim committee meeting is not until the end of August. I think the next updates that we would really have is in September, like how that went. So I think that sounds like a good plan.
So according to my schedule, that would be September 8th.
I may not be able to attend that meeting. That's all right.
Sure. I'm just going every 2 weeks from today.
Yes, so we do have a meeting already on the calendar for September 8th. We could keep that. And and I could delete all the ones prior to that. That is the week of the Forest Collaborative Summit. So I believe I will likely be there. Angela will likely be there. Matt will likely be there. Perhaps James. So I don't know if we want to maybe move it up a week or back a week just because of that, or if I'll leave that to the committee.
Well, I want to honor that you guys will all be there, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to be there. It's our 10th anniversary of the 2013 flood, so we have a bunch of anniversary things, and yeah, there's a lot going on right now. So we can move it back if you guys want to start, and we can go to the 1st and 3rd and until instead of the 2nd and 4th, if you want to do that. We could do that.
That sounds good.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so I would need, do we need to vote to move our meetings to the 1st and the 3rd then?
Is it just for the month of September or?
Well,
beyond?
I figure if we're if we're gonna move it, maybe we just need to stick to that cadence. I don't know. I know, does that mess up your schedule?
Well, so right now the meetings are automatically scheduled for every other Friday. Perhaps there's people that have built their calendars around those meeting dates. Yeah, like you, Jody. So I would rather not cancel all the meetings and create meetings on the opposite Fridays. So how about I just adjust September? What if instead of meeting on the 8th, you all meet either on the 1st or the 15th, and we keep the meeting on the 22nd? So either we go 2 weeks without meeting or we meet 2 weeks in a row.
Let's do the 1st and the 22nd. Does that agree with everybody? And then just go back to our previous cadence. I mean, I can move all my meetings to this new cadence, but I think for a lot of us, and I think Pat, is that why you raised your hand too, that you've kind of got these in your calendar? We don't want to, I just want to make sure we're not messing up people's plans. So since we've all kind of done that. Okay. Thanks, Samantha. Okay, so do we need to vote then to just say we're moving that?
Let's do it so it's in the meeting minutes.
Okay,
Very clear.
I would welcome a motion to move our September only meetings from the 1st and to the 22nd.
I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so then any burning desires for agenda items? Other than maybe just, I'm going to do a review of the interim committee actions and kind of report out on that. And then any other burning, maybe we can, Director McCombs, maybe you or James can talk about all the work we threw at you.
I did have a couple thoughts just to kind of conclude this meeting. So whenever it's appropriate, let me know.
Okay, Pat, you had your hand raised.
Yes, I was just going to tease you, and we shouldn't use the term burning in this group. Burning issues. Sorry.
No, you're right. And that's probably good point, because I try not to say burn scar, but burn area, because I got Senator Hickenlooper's office doesn't like us to use the word scar anymore, burn scar. So they were pretty adamant about that. So I will, any pressing issues or desires, how's that? So, but thank you for teasing me. Mr. Morgan.
Yes, I would like to hear from Director McCombs first. You had some comments. I had some comments that I would like to bring up when it's appropriate. Is
Yeah.
that what?
Go ahead, Mark. I'm happy to go after.
First off, yesterday's meeting, I thought some things came out there that were should maybe guide us or helpful for us. When we put price tags on things that we're trying to emphasize or promote, it seemed to cause some problems on the funding numbers yesterday. And so maybe we need to get more adept at how to emphasize how critical we think things are, but maybe in the future, we should unless it's specific to something we have to fund, kind of avoid the price tag side of things, or I don't know. I think we caused some issues there yesterday. Not bad. Everybody did good work, but I think it was a stumbling block for some people because they didn't want it to limit it to that. And I was sitting there thinking the whole time, thinking, here I am trying to increase the program, push the program, and possibly I've thrown out a roadblock. So some input from you, Director McCombs, on that going forward, I think would be helpful. I know it was my intent on Good Neighbor to in the world of business, you got a winner, you push it, you move it, you fund it, you expand it all you can, you support it. And that was my feelings. And then yesterday, it looked like that almost had become an issue. And that's the last thing in this world I would like to do. Another thing is that you, I thought you and Director Morgan deserved a really gold star. It came out to me yesterday on the controlled burn or prescribed burn plan. I thought that was a really, really informative, good starting point. And I see a lot of this, like you and Director Morgan said, we've got to eat this elephant one little piece at a time, but we do got to get started on it. And I thought that was a real good beginning, and it really, in my view, dealing with prescribed, I do not want to take prescribed fire tools away from you. I want to expand them. But on the other hand, I don't want us burning the forest in lieu of managing the forest. And I really give you guys a gold star for your balanced approach on that. And that's where I see Good Neighbor. Let's get out and manage what we can manage, and let's use fire as a tool. And I'm seeing a lot of imbalance in some of the federal Forest Service programs right now, and so that was really heartwarming to me to see that. And I don't know, keep this real short. Excuse me, I'll shut this thing off. I think just a quick example. When I mentioned to you yesterday about not building piles or alternative methods of managing, I received a bid award, a job that we decided not to bid, but the Acme Creek job up on the Canyon Lakes district of the Arpaio Roosevelt bid yesterday, and it was a fuels reduction job. And the actual acres on the ground is under 200 acres. And Forest Service awarded the contract $843,678, about $4,400 an acre. We can't stand that. We won't get our forest managed that way. I'm a contractor. I bid that. I get that money, but that's not how your program is successful. And it just stunned me when the meeting was over and I got that notice of award that they did award that. And so I feel like we've got to get some bang for the buck for the public here. And I really give you kudos for your guys' approach and the way you explained it yesterday. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mark. Y'all mind if I just respond with a couple thoughts just from
No, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Matt.
So a couple things. Just one, I just want to thank this group for all the hard work that they've done throughout the year. You know, I got off the call and was just like, damn, like, like, wow, that went really well. And I feel like there's a lot of consensus around some of the concepts that were brought forward. And that's a reflection, I think, of us being able to really you. I mean, because, you know, I wasn't able to participate in a lot of these meetings across the spring and the early summer, in having your finger on the pulse of the issues that are really important to folks right now and digging into issues that, and again, I'll just be really transparent that even I'm not totally sure on how we sort of engage with, and it's really pushing the agency, and it's pushing all of the agencies, not just the State Forest Service, but others, into like, we need to have a lot more robust dialogue together. We need to have a lot more robust dialogue amongst some of our peers in a way that we can start speaking more cogently and more in alignment than perhaps the ways we have in the past. And a lot of that, you know, decision was there's a ton of stuff below the surface, right, as to why we haven't always been able to sort of come into alignment and really come up with comprehensive thinking and approaches to the work. But I just felt so good going to bed last night about the power of stakeholder driven process and governance being influenced by groups of people as opposed to just, you know, government itself. And so that it just was really heartwarming and kind of exciting about like what's in front of us. And on the flip side, I do want to say that like we got to get really good, to Mark's point about our asks, and part of that, a good portion of that should come to the agencies. Like some of the I think we should spend a meeting. I don't know when this happens because Wildfire Matters Review forces us right into the session, which, I mean, there's election cycles start, all these things are, you know, so I don't know when those good times are, but I do want the notes to capture, and I want you guys to hear that I'd love to do some, like an AAR or something on like, what did we do well? How can we improve? Is our timing in the right, you know, like, are we having the conversations at the right time? And so how can we better dovetail with the governor's budget development process so that as we influence, we're really focusing on influencing the legislature. I think we have a huge opportunity to influence the governor's office as well. They're still taking ideas for budget formulation, but you know, the decision item process for agencies happened like 2 months ago. And so it just got me thinking about like, this is a very powerful group of people and they're all really, like, I love doing roll call. That was the best part of the meeting for me, which sounds stupid, but like, all of those names, I was like, this is like a who's who of the people that are really vested in these issues, and how fortunate are we to have them all in the same place, sharing dialogue across, you know, federal and state government. So I did want to just posit to folks, I'd love to, if we could spend half an hour, 45 minutes or an hour at some point in the fall prior to January, but potentially after Wildfire Matters Review, it might be really valuable to just take a step back and think about how things, because it always feels so fast and furious. And Commissioner Shattuck-McNally knows all about this. She has been the queen of fast and furious delivery and policy formulation in a lot of ways, and it's been fun watching it. But I just wanted to put that out there, that maybe this group, and then we could bring those findings and that thought process to the larger group, which I think might influence the way some of the other committees and potentially how the council itself manages its business and its engagement. So I just want to tell you how much I appreciate the support. It means a lot to the agency. That the agency is stretched right now. People, they're not freaking out, but they are feeling the burden. I mean, if there was a meme, you know, in the State Forest Service internally, it would be like, the state forester doesn't know how to say no, you know, like, and it's really not about manage. It's just that balance about, you know, there's this unique opportunity in front of us with these resources, and we just can't turn away, because we have to bring as much home as we can to do as much work as we can. But it's just a lot of stress, and we're growing rapidly. So people are hiring and training, and it's just bananas, right? But when you hear and feel the support and the engagement and the awareness and the fluency with the issues that you're trying to face down from a body like this, it just heartens you to think that, like, we've got friends, we've got supporters, we've got a way forward together. So I just wanted to reflect that back. We've become sort of tight, you know, in this committee, and I just wanted to reflect that back to you and thank you for your leadership and for the council's reflection of your leadership and your thoughtfulness. And Christy, I heard, you know, Christy's reaching out to folks locally, and you know, they're like, what do I do? I'm like, talk to her, you know, engage, help, you know. So I just can't tell you how much I appreciate everyone's interest spiking, and your participation. And Mark, in particular, I love your voice and hearing from industry and hearing from the boots on the ground and the point, that intercept between policy and implementation. So I'm going to stop rambling, but I just wanted to say thank you. And then also, you know, let's try to find some time to reflect on our success and fine tune, because I think there's a lot more success to be had in shaping policy and getting resources to places we believe are critically important. So that's it. That just was on my head and heart a little bit this morning, and I wanted to share.
Thank you. And I think it's just interesting. You're so spot on today, because I was thinking about that too, is we felt so rushed and we had to meet weekly, and we had so much information trying to get from the subject matter experts trying to understand what was our next steps. And I think we had such a focus the last year on trying to get those first, those first 2 wins, trying to show that this new body, reconstituted body, this new council, I don't know what we would call, but we wanted to show that it was it's purposeful, and we have those things. And so I think now we know, we kind of paused during the legislative session to kind of focus on getting the bills passed, but we also could have used that time to try, like you said, to kind of get ready for the next, figuring out with the budgets and things what we need. And to the point about the asks, sometimes they'll say, well, what do you mean, good neighbor? Some people want to know, are you asking for 10 million or 20 million? And so I don't want to get stuck on a number either, but we also have to kind of, when they're looking at their budgets, we'll have to have some kind of ask. And that's why I kept saying for everyone, please don't get focused on the number, just focused on this. But, it's at least maybe a ballpark or something, because sometimes people ask for a program and you're like, well, how much is that going to cost, right? And so how much are you looking for? So I think you're right. I think going back and reflecting and try to maybe build a timeline for this committee or the council, like, okay, here, and that's kind of what we do with the rodeo committee that I'm on. I am not a rodeo professional rodeo expert, but that's one of my committees that I have to oversee. And they have every month spelled out every year. And so they don't forget things. And so we know this when we have to talk, we have to get these things discussed. And so maybe we start to set up a timeline for, the fall, we start looking at ideas, and then we start reaching out to subject matter experts. And then during the legislative session, we spent so much time on focusing on the bill. Maybe we're still doing other things to get geared up, so we're not spending that May to July scrambling, trying to get all this information and then quickly bring all these together. So that was it's interesting you thought about that, because I was going to bring that up today, is maybe we should backward plan. Here's this interim committee, here's a report, here's the governor's budget, and maybe we need a backward plan the meetings that we need to have so that we can structure the meetings and ask folks to come earlier. But and we don't know what kind of topics, we have those base sets. I don't want to lose all that work and those ideas and some of those things that we thought were really important, but maybe we need to build those into something sooner. So I agree with you, Director McCombs, and we can put that in for September and start segmenting that. I don't know if you have a process in mind to look at that, or if there's we just hired these facilitators because we just had 100 leaders come for our next strategic plan, and everyone was blown away that in less than 2 hours, we got 100 people to pull together 12 major themes. It blew me away too. With people from, I think Aaron was there, I believe, and just a ton of folks, and it was like, wow, that was a really great process. So I don't know if there's a process you're looking at to kind of help us, facilitate that discussion, or we just want to have a discussion. So just curious about that. And so thanks for letting me kind of ramble on there, but Mr. Morgan, your hand's up.
Couple other quick comments. It kind of shows up almost like during these meetings that I was almost anti-study or anti-doing studies. That's not the case at all. But one thing that I feel very strongly about, I was trying to push to get some programs going, because the old saying in the logging world is do something even if it's wrong, and then if it's wrong, fix it. And if you've got something started and you've got something going, then there's things to study. If you're just studying a study, then it's all theoretical. But if you've got something going, then you can say, now we can study this. This is what we did right. This is what we did wrong. This is how we move forward. And so, to me, pilot programs, examples, anything that we can do to get out there, get boots on the ground, start doing something, and then say, this didn't work or this did work. What I oftentimes fear is so many times in the past on groups similar to this, the study was used as a tool not to do anything. You can study things clear out into the future forever, and nothing comes of it. And one of the things I was trying to explain, I appreciate Director McCombs and Director Morgan, is that I get the feeling that they want to do something, show something, bite a piece out of this elephant, and then find out where we need to bite the next piece. And I appreciate that.
Thanks, Mr. Morgan. I thought, I agree with you. The discussion between Matt and Mike Morgan was amazing. And when he said the elephant by the piece, I was like, I almost jumped out of my seat, like, yes. And so I thought it was amazing. So Christy, if you had your hand up, thank you.
Yes, I echo what Mark's saying. And I would even be a little bit, I would word my opinion a little bit more strongly. You know, a study for me is just a holdup and a red flag. I'm a national forest permittee for grazing, and the NEPA, stuff that gets in our way is just, there's no common sense. There's no common sense. So, for me personally, anytime we start talking about studies, I really question the value of some of those. And more importantly, I struggle with allocating funds to studies when we have very low hanging fruit, which is, in my opinion, still very narrow-mindedly fuels mitigation, whatever the buzzword might be for it, but, managing fuels, getting rid of fuels. And, for me personally, we've got several hundred cows up on the national forest, and it costs no money for the forest. There are no people up there, and it is fuels reduction that is happening in real time. So to me, that is common sense stuff. When we start talking about studies, it's going to take some persuasion for me to get behind studies. And I'm going to use that vapor pressure deficit study as an example. I struggle with it, you guys, because it exists. I don't know how much more of an in-depth explanation I need for vapor pressure deficit. It just exists. And I understand, the study might lead us to, more information to where we can manage it down the road. But meanwhile, our forests are burning up and our air quality is suffering because of it. So I still personally want to see more immediate action. And on another quick note, I was talking to one of the employees from the State Forest Service the other day, because I did attend a meeting. I'm trying to at least get educated what's going on locally here. And, and I was telling her that I personally have a hard time with the studies and funding collaborative groups. And she had a very different opinion on collaborative groups. And she talked to me a little bit about the necessity of them and how important they were. And it helped me for our next meeting, because I heard what she said and it made good sense to me. So I think it's helping to be more involved so that I can see a broader view beyond just my narrow fuel, boots on the ground fuels mitigation mindset that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. And thanks for all the extra steps that you're doing to engage and stuff. I think that's awesome. Pat has her hand raised.
Thank you. The piece that I wanted to tack on to this conversation about the studies, I support, we should all be using the best science, and where studies would help with that. I think it's important. I was a little, I don't know if disappointed is the right word, but I was a little surprised, maybe is a better word, that after going through this committee, that came up kind of as in the larger group. And I think anything we can do to avoid that happening on the, what I'll say in front of the whole group again would be better. And I don't have any recommendations at this point, but I don't know. I was just kind of caught off guard. I don't know if anybody else felt that way.
Sorry, can you clarify what specifically caught you off guard?
The fact that this committee came forward with some fairly solid recommendations. I thought we had at least a couple of the people that came out in support of the study were a part of this committee, and then it came up again in front of the large group. So I don't know. It just I don't want to say an end around, but it kind of seemed like I'm going to take a second bite of the apple in front of the large group.
Thank you, Pat. Mr. Morgan.
I think in the meeting beforehand, Paige Lewis made it pretty plain that she really wanted to be doing studies and it was important to her. And to be effective in a group like this, you have to try to deal with as many people's concerns as possible and be as inclusive as possible, and until it's detrimental to where you feel you're trying to get. And what I believe that, Pat, you're exactly correct. I was in hopes it wasn't coming up. I was sitting here waiting, listening for it because I thought it would. I felt that Paige thought it was important enough, and so I expected to see it. I actually was unsurprised. And that's her position and that's her goal. And that's fine. And we've got to be as inclusive as we can. But I've been pretty transparent myself. I don't want to study things into oblivion. I want to get something done. So, and studies can help. You can use the best science, but I have learned one thing over a lot of different groups like this, and that is this, and this is so true. Perfect is the enemy of good. You can perfect, you can study forever. And if that precludes you from taking action, you have failed in your mission. And so you've got to get somewhere where you're fairly solid and then get after it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think we all were a little surprised, but I think we all kind of knew she was pretty passionate about that. But I didn't want it to kind of delay the conversation, so I just thought we'd add in there because we all felt the urgency to get that seed deficit and kind of forestation thing and going forward. And I do want to thank you, Director McCombs and James and Courtney and Angela to bring all that forward into a nice, concise document that we had to try to work through. And I wanted to go back real quick to the vapor pressure deficit. I don't think we're doing a study. I think we were trying to get all the experts in the room to have to pull it all together and come out with actions. You know, what can we do? So I don't think it's a study. I think we're just trying to bring everyone together and say, okay, let's get all these guys who like know this stuff backwards, forwards, and sideways and get something actionable out. And so if that's not, I mean, maybe they'll say, well, this is something we just have to manage. But then how do we manage that? Is it getting ahead of and different, and I'm not the expert. Do we have to do soil mitigation too? Or do we have to, when we plant trees? I don't know. And so that's kind of why I wanted to see that. So Christy, your hand's raised. Thanks.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I misspoke. We started out with the idea of a study, but it was just the example coming to the forefront of my mind. And also the good work of this group where we can have these discussions and still get work done, I think. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'm in favor of a meeting or what we ended up agreeing to. I thought that was good. So yeah, sorry about that. I did not need the word study. Thank you.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I just want to make sure you were comfortable with that because I heard you that this has already been studied by a lot of people who are done years. Yeah. So I wouldn't, and so I'm still trying to grapple with that as well. But, so I think, having the bigger issue and having this come to a full group, I think is to the full council was a great discussion. But I wanted, before I ask Samantha, I just wanted to make sure, because it was brought up that maybe we're stepping on Director Morgan's toes. And I don't think that was our intention at all. I think we were trying to show our support for we got to do something. So I hope you all don't feel, that kind of took me aback, that comment. I hope that we didn't step on toes. I don't think that was our intention. I thought our intention was to step up and say, hey, we got to do something, because we heard so loud and clear that some of the mitigation work was being inhibited by not having the insurance piece for some of these partners. So I just want to make sure that you all know I hope that we didn't make Director Morgan uncomfortable, but I don't feel like we were trying to do that. So if we misstepped or something, or if I misstepped, I hope that he knows our intent was good. So I hope I did that. Those comments kind of took me aback. I was like, no, we're not trying to step on toes. So yeah. Samantha.
Yeah, I hear you, Commissioner. As we said, I think generally we're all on the same page. We can't all be perfect all the time, and people have their own opinions coming from their different agencies. To that point, I'm wondering, we do send this information out in advance. I know people are incredibly busy. sometimes they don't get a chance to fully review. I'm wondering if, maybe Courtney, there's an option to even get this out to folks like further in advance. I know sometimes it's hard to, solicit feedback via email just with the laws, but, maybe just allowing people a chance to kind of sit with it, provide feedback in some capacity before we suddenly are all together in a meeting and it's an open meeting and, people might be feeling a little bit funky about things that they want to say publicly. That aside, I think all these comments are great. I think generally we're doing really, really well. And I think the consensus-based emotions impact all of that, I think is great. I did want to just put in a plug for the Gates Family Foundation commentary yesterday, because I thought that was super interesting. And it's something that I personally love to learn more about in the future. As a staff member at OEDIT with our affordable housing program, I think there's a lot of opportunity there. And to be quite honest, I had not really thought about the forest, the timber, that part of it that could impact that housing program. And so it was great to hear that they're connected with some of that funding. But I'm just curious if maybe in the future there's something that we could, push forward or, maybe have a more in-depth conversation with Gates Family or others. So adding to the kind of backcast future plan, but I think that'd be great to learn more. So thanks for getting that together, Director McCombs.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I think that was an amazing addition, and Director McCombs did a phenomenal job chairing the meeting and having, so she showed up that time. It worked out really well, and I was really impressed, and maybe they would be willing to come and talk to this group too. And so I thought, I was super excited to hear all of that. And I heard some of that at the National Association of Counties, but not to that in depth. And so I think that's a super cool topic. So anyway, I'm really glad you brought that up, Samantha, because that was on my mind last night too. I have it Googled and bookmarked and went all over the website. And then someone else put something on about a housing project in Durango. I don't know if you guys saw that in the comments. About some of the modulars they're doing there, and that was really cool too. So, Mr. Morgan.
One quick comment and then an answer maybe to Samantha. I think Director Morgan and Director McCombs have got pretty tough hides or they're not going to take this job. I know I do. So I don't think you have to worry too much about hurting people's tender feelings. When I've been around those two guys, I think they can handle it. And
Thanks, Mark.
I'm convinced they're going to talk to me this morning, and they're not going to talk to me right now. I'm sorry, but golly, the other one is this: mass timber construction is huge in the industry right now, and there's all kinds of projects under construction, in construction, it's being done. It's pretty common. Industry moves pretty fast, and for anybody that's interested right now, I was looking at Timber Processing magazine this morning before I came over here, and there is a project in British Columbia, and I think they're going to do a $75 million renovation of an existing facility to produce mass timber. And British Columbia Economic Development, their government agency up there, is going to kick in 10 million of that 75 million. But it's in timber processing. There's a good article on it today, and then they've done some similar things in Oregon, and I don't know if it's appropriate to hear. You usually need a homogeneous series of species to work from, but it's interesting to study, and that might help you if you wanted to look into that particular one. There's a short article in there, and then I'm sure that you would investigate it further if you're interested in that.
Great. So thank you, Mr. Morgan. Courtney, your hand's raised and we are at time. So just want to make sure we honor that new thing. So I don't think we have any other votes other than to adjourn. So Courtney, your hand was raised.
I just wanted to reply to Samantha's comment or suggestion of getting the recommendations to the council a little bit earlier so people have time to reflect on them and perhaps provide feedback. And I think that's a good idea. And I think it ties into what Director McCombs was saying, and Commissioner Shattuck McNally, about building a timeline backwards, thinking about our process a little bit more, because I do agree it could be cool if we sent the recommendations and then there was another committee meeting where people could pop in and learn a little bit more and be a part of a conversation before the full council meeting. So I think that's a great idea, and it sounds like it'll fit into this after action review that Director McCombs was talking about.
I think that's fantastic. So, well, I think we love to talk about all these things, but we all, and I have got to go on, I've got a full day and I got to go get ready to meet with those legislators, and I've got a tour in between. So I just wanted to, again, thank you all for your work. Courtney, phenomenal job capturing all of our thoughts and pulling this all together, you and Angela and James, and just amazing stuff. So I guess I'm kind of sad I won't see you next week, but I know we got lots of work to do. So I just, unless there's other pressing desires, Pat, is there any other comments for the thing, for the group? Otherwise, we'll go ahead and adjourn, and I'll take a motion to adjourn, and we'll see you on September 1st.
So move.
Second.
Great. Well, happy weekend, everybody. Happy Friday. Please take
Thank you.
care. We're adjourned.
Bye.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Thanks, Court.